You're standing in terrain that doesn't forgive mistakes. The animal moves. You have seconds. And in that moment, your rifle decides whether you come home with meat or come home empty. Most hunters are still trusting equipment designed before smartphones existed. And that's not tradition, that's negligence. American gun makers know this. And in 2026, they finally stopped playing it safe. Titanium alloys that aerospace engineers designed. Carbon engineering that sheds weight without sacrificing rigidity. Trigger systems that break like glass. The 7 platforms we're about to break down aren't incremental improvements. They're category shifts. They're the difference between hoping and executing, between carrying dead weight uphill and carrying a purpose-built tool that answers the moment. This is what happens when precision rifle technology meets backcountry hunting, and engineering says, enough with the compromise. Most hunters will tell you that budget rifles are a compromise. You pay less, you get less. They'll point to a Ruger American and say it's fine for plinking at the range or knocking over a whitetail at 200 yards. But that narrative is dead wrong. The Gen 2 isn't a budget rifle that happens to shoot straight. It's a full-featured precision instrument that somehow escaped the factory at a price that makes the premium platforms look like highway robbery. The heart of this rifle is a 3-lug bolt head, a geometry you'd normally find on rifles costing 3 times the money. Unlike the traditional 2-lug design with its clunky 90-degree throw, Ruger engineered this bolt to rotate just 70 degrees. That short arc transforms every reload from a clunky gymnastics move into a smooth, deliberate motion. Your hand stays planted on the rifle. Your eye never leaves the glass. And when you're wearing winter gloves thick enough to stop a bullet, that oversized bolt handle still gives you leverage that feels almost mechanical. The bolt races through the receiver with a slickness that defies the price tag. No grinding, no resistance. Just glass-smooth cycling that inspires confidence in the most violent moment of the hunt. The barrel is cold, hammer-forged and wrapped with deeply spiral-fluted grooves that look aggressive as hell, but serve a purpose. Those flutes aren't decoration, they're weight reduction and heat management. Every groove is a duct for air circulation and a psychological cue that this rifle means business. The entire barrel and receiver come from the factory wrapped in a hard-wearing Cerakote finish. We're talking smoked bronze or gunmetal gray that actually holds its color instead of wearing off at the slightest provocation. What separates Gen 2 from pretenders is the power bedding system. Ruger cast this pillar-bedded block directly into the polymer stock, which means the receiver locks into place with zero flex. The barrel floats freely above that bedded platform. This isn't gunsmithing magic. It's the same principle that costs $1,500 at a custom shop. Out of the box, this rifle commits to sub-MOA accuracy. Not 1-inch groups, not close, consistently under 1 minute of angle. The marksman trigger breaks cleanly between 3 and 5 pounds, giving you the precision needed in high-stress moments. The stock itself is where Ruger proves they understand what hunters actually need. The textured splatter paint finish grips your shoulder in wet conditions where glossy plastic would betray you. The spacers let you dial in length of pull from 12 to 13 3/4 inches. The adjustable comb inserts ensure your eye finds the exact height it needs over modern optics. And the magazines, it switched to standard AX magazines, mean you're not locked into Ruger's ecosystem. You can run Accuracy International boxes, load whatever ammunition you want, and benefit from an aftermarket that dwarfs every other budget platform. Here's the deal breaker. The recoil pad is minimalist. Shoot magnums, your shoulder will notice it. But for standard cartridges like 6.5 Creedmoor or 283, that pad transfers energy in a straight line, predictable and manageable. This is the value play of 2026, period. Stepping up the game now. If Ruger proved you don't need to spend $4 grand to shoot straight, Christensen Arms is about to show you what happens when a company abandons every traditional manufacturing shortcut and reinvents how rifle barrels actually get made. Christensen has been working in carbon composites since the dawn of tactical rifle culture. But the Ridgeline FFT represents something different entirely. A maturation point where aerospace metallurgy, zero-waste manufacturing, and genuine innovation converge on a single platform. The FFT acronym stands for Flash Forged Technology, and it's the proprietary barrel and stock system that separates this rifle from everything else sitting in this conversation. Here's what traditional carbon barrel builders do. They wrap woven carbon fiber around a steel liner like an old-school candy cane. It works, sure, but there's drag, there's waste, there's a manufacturing process that looks expensive because it is. Christensen threw all that out. They take chopped carbon fiber, the microscopic shards left over from aerospace fabrication that normally become scrap, compress that material under extreme temperature and pressure, and forge it into a monolithic structure. The result is a barrel that weighs nothing, and I mean that literally. These barrels shed nearly 2 pounds compared to steel, while actually increasing the harmonic damping characteristics. What that means in English is your muzzle doesn't vibrate the same way. Your shots land tighter. Your point of impact doesn't drift when the barrel gets hot from sustained fire. The receiver beneath that barrel is traditional stainless steel, 416 grade, machined with exacting tolerances. But the true obsession shows up in the details. The bolt knob is FFT composite. The floor plate is FFT composite. Every piece that doesn't have to be steel has been reimagined in this zero-waste material. The visual result is a rifle that looks unified, intentional, like a single organism instead of an assembly of compromises. Accuracy doesn't get negotiated here. Christensen commits to sub-MOA performance, and they can afford to because the engineering backs it up. The trigger is a TriggerTech unit equipped with their proprietary frictionless release mechanism. When you press that trigger, it breaks like glass cracking. Sudden, clean, no creep. That precision matters when you're at elevation, when the wind is talking, when the animal moves and you have maybe 2 seconds to execute the perfect shot. The muzzle wears a side baffle brake that looks like it could stop a truck. For Magnum cartridges, that brake is non-negotiable. The recoil impulse gets diverted sideways and backward in controlled bursts, instead of slamming your shoulder like a sledgehammer. Handling this rifle feels almost disrespectful to the power it's channeling. Here's the reality. The price climbs to $2,100 to $2,400, but you're buying the future of barrel technology, not yesterday's ideas wrapped in marketing. Christensen Ridgeline FFT, you're looking at the next standard. Now we get serious. And I'm not talking about serious in the traditional sense. I'm talking about breaking more than a century of mechanical constraints and asking a fundamental question. What if a lever-action rifle could actually win in 2026? For 130 years, lever-action rifles were beautiful relics. Handsome wood, elegant simplicity, reliable as sunrise. But they suffered from 2 lethal flaws that no gunsmith could overcome. First, the tubular magazine demanded flat-nosed bullets to prevent chain detonations in the magazine. That meant your ballistic coefficient looked like a brick. Second, the top ejection system and weak locking lugs couldn't handle modern pressure cartridges. If you wanted precision, power, or the ability to mount optics properly, lever actions were a historical footnote. Then Henry said, "We're going to break all the rules at once." The Laser isn't a restoration. It's a reinvention. The lever still operates exactly like your grandfather's rifle. That satisfying mechanical pump, that direct human control over every round. But underneath that familiar geometry lives a multi-lug rotary bolt head lifted directly from AR-15 architecture. This isn't cosmetic borrowing. The bolt face rotates into locking lugs machined into an AR-style barrel extension. That single engineering decision unlocked everything. Suddenly, lever actions could handle .283 Winchester, 300 BLK, 450 Bushmaster, cartridges that would have exploded a traditional receiver like a grenade. And the magazines. Henry abandoned the tubular nightmare entirely. The laser feeds from standard AR-15 magazines, Magpul PMag boxes. That means you can load Spitzer bullets, long, sleek, aerodynamic projectiles that actually hold velocity past 200 yards. A hunter carrying 2 loaded 30-round magazines now has firepower and flexibility that was impossible on a lever gun 6 months ago. The ballistic performance jumps from maybe 250 yards for ethical hunting to solid ethical shots at 400 plus. The barrel floats freely. No barrel bands, no tension.
Good group so far.
18 inches of free-floating steel means this lever gun shoots sub-MOA. Not just accurate for a lever action, accurate by modern precision standards. The muzzle is threaded, ready for a suppressor. The ergonomics feel unfamiliar at first. This is modern, tactical furniture bolted onto an old mechanical philosophy. That transition from wood furniture nostalgia to black composite might feel jarring if you're a purist. The learning curve exists, but the payoff is undeniable. Price point sits between $1,300 and $1,360. For that money, you're getting a rifle that exists in a legal gray area no other platform can claim. It's fully lever-operated, completely manual, but it mimics the flexibility and power of a semi-automatic. In states where the hammer comes down on semi-autos, the laser is a masterclass in loopholes written in steel. This is solid, but wait until you see the monster at number 1. Entering the elite tier now, and this is where the conversation shifts from great value to undeniable supremacy. Springfield Armory made a calculated choice that most manufacturers were too afraid to make. They looked at the Remington 700 footprint, the most copied, most familiar, most universally supported action in modern rifle history, and asked, what if we didn't just copy it? What if we actually perfected it? The Model 2020 Waypoint is that answer. On paper, it respects the footprint that allows you to drop a Waypoint into any aftermarket chassis designed for the R700. That ecosystem compatibility alone is worth thousands of dollars in future-proofing your investment. But underneath that familiar geometry, Springfield engineered something that makes traditional R700s look dated. The bolt carrier group uses electrical discharge machining, EDM, to cut the raceways with a precision that makes the bolt action feel like it's running on ice. Not gritty, not stiff, not variable. Consistent, smooth. The kind of action you'd expect on a rifle costing twice the money. The fluted bolt face uses dual locking lugs and gets nitrided for corrosion resistance that laughs at weather. Cold, wet, salt air, blazing desert heat. This bolt stays dependable, and the commitment is backed by an accuracy guarantee that Springfield literally prints on the paperwork. 0.75 MOA. They're not suggesting it shoots accurately. They're guaranteeing it. That guarantee exists because of the barrel. Springfield integrated a BSF carbon-wrapped barrel, the same tension system you see on platforms costing $4 grand. The barrel gets pillar-bedded into an AG composite stock, and suddenly you've got the precision of a custom shop without the 12-week wait and the $1,700 premium. The stock comes in 2 flavors, standard or adjustable cone. Both feature the flat forend that screams crossover DNA. This rifle wants to live on a tripod just as much as it wants to be shouldered in the field. M-lock slots, QD cups, Picatinny rails running the length of the receiver. Springfield built this for hunters who also compete, or competitors who also hunt. The price starts at $19.95 for the steel barrel version, climbs to $23.55, if you want the carbon tube and adjustable ergonomics. The deal breaker is inevitable. The adjustable comb models ship with several insertion options, but dialing that perfect height takes trial and error. You're not turning a single bolt and finding enlightenment. You're swapping spacers, shouldering the rifle, checking the cheek weld, repeating. It's methodical, not instant. But once you've locked it in, this rifle becomes the reference standard. It outperforms R700s that cost half as much again. It outshines custom rigs built by gunsmiths working out of shop garages. It is the definition of modern American precision engineering applied to a platform that refuses to age. The Waypoint isn't the flashiest rifle in this lineup, but it might be the smartest. This is where innovation stops being a marketing word and starts being a philosophy. Seekins Precision built this rifle in Lewiston, Idaho, with the obsession of a company that spent years inside the precision rifle world. The Element Hunter isn't a refinement of existing geometry. It's an architecture designed explicitly for backcountry hunters who refuse to compromise between weight and accuracy. And the engineering underneath explains why this rifle costs $3150. The hybrid action represents a fundamental shift in how bolt-action receivers get engineered. The primary body is 7075 aluminum, the same alloy used in aerospace structures. But Seekins didn't cut corners by going full aluminum. They insert hardened steel locking lugs at the precise points where chamber pressure tries to blow the whole thing apart. That marriage of materials, aluminum for weight savings, steel for structural integrity, is a principle borrowed from F-16 fighters and Apache helicopters. Your hunting rifle now carries aerospace redundancy. The 3-lug bolt rotates just 60 degrees. That's the snappiest bolt throw you'll encounter in this lineup. Reload speed becomes almost reflexive. The bolt face is toollessly removable, which means you can strip the firing pin assembly in seconds without heading back to the truck for a screwdriver. In frozen conditions or after a messy kill, that matters. Here's the revolutionary part. Seekins published the open-source tenon specifications. They actually showed the world how to machine a barrel for this action. In an industry where manufacturers guard reamer dimensions like nuclear launch codes, Seekins said no. Build your own barrels. Take this rifle into whatever direction your needs demand. That single decision transforms the Element Hunter from a finished product into a platform. And the quick change barrel collar means you can swap between calipers, 6.5 Creedmoor one week, 300 PRC the next, all on the same receiver. That's adaptability you've never seen before. The PH3 carbon composite stock sits at the intersection of hunting traditional and tactical modern. Flat fore-end for tripod mounting, M-lock slots for accessories, adjustable comb for optic alignment. But it doesn't scream tactical, it whispers capability. Accuracy is sub-MOA, full stop. The mechanical harmony of a properly bedded receiver, tensioned carbon barrel, and precision trigger means your misses stop being the rifle's fault. The deal breaker is insidious. This rifle invites endless upgrading. New barrels, lighter bolt knobs, upgraded triggers, upgraded bolts, custom stocks. The modular nature that makes it powerful also makes your wallet a target. You start at $3150, and suddenly you're down 40 grand, and you've built 3 different configurations. But before you think this is the pinnacle, wait. The monster at number 1 makes this look like a stepping stone. Look, Savage has owned precision longer than most manufacturers have owned a factory. The Model 110 action is legendary, but for years that legendary action came wrapped in a brick of steel that weighed more than a human femur. The Ultralite Elite changed everything. And when I say changed, I mean Savage took the most accurate receiver platform in the hunting world and married it to the future of material science. The centerpiece is the MDT HERNT 26 chassis, a 3-piece modular system that doesn't exist anywhere else. The core structural element is magnesium alloy. Not aluminum, not titanium, magnesium. It's 33% lighter than aluminum while maintaining equivalent rigidity. The forend and pistol grip are pure carbon fiber. The integration of these materials creates a chassis that's simultaneously featherlight and genuinely rigid. When you build a precision rifle, and the platform itself weighs nothing, every ounce you save translates directly into better ergonomics and easier movement through brutal terrain. But the engineering genius lives in the folding mechanism. The stock literally folds beneath the receiver, collapsing the rifle into a profile so compact you can shoulder carry it through dense timber without the muzzle snagging every low-hanging branch. That's not a minor convenience. That's the difference between a practical backcountry tool and an awkward novelty. The action itself is factory blueprinted. Savage sends each one through precision measurement to ensure the receiver geometry meets aerospace-level tolerances. Then they partnered with Proof Research for the barrel, their legendary cut-rifled carbon fiber job that sheds nearly 2 pounds compared to steel, while actually increasing the harmonic stability. The bolt has diamond fluting and wears a blackout Cerakote finish that laughs at weather. The forend includes an integrated ARCA rail running its full length. Drop a tripod on it and you've got instant, rock-solid stability for extreme distance verification shots or sustained precision work. The trigger is a Savage AccuTrigger, tuned from 1.5 to 4 pounds, adjustable by the end user. The magazine system switched to 8.6 compatibility, unlocking the entire Accuracy International ecosystem of parts and ammunition support. Accuracy is sub-MOA guaranteed. The combination of factory blueprinted receiver, proof barrel, free float architecture, and precision trigger means this rifle will group tighter than most hunters can shoot. The deal breaker lands here: complexity. With 3-piece modular chassis design, adjustable triggers, and folding mechanisms, there's more to learn, more potential points of failure, more maintenance discipline required. It demands attention. But this rifle is undeniable. $32.99 buys you the most advanced, lightweight precision platform money can buy. Except there's one rifle that transcends all of this. The number one spot belongs to something else entirely. This is it, the platform that rewrites the conversation. Everything that came before, the value play of the Ruger, the material science of Christensen, the innovation of Henry, the precision engineering of Springfield, the aerospace thinking of Seekins, the refinement of Savage, all of it bows to the Weatherby Mark V Backcountry Guide TI. And I'm not saying that lightly. The Weatherby sits at $37.99. That's $1,000 more than the Savage. That's $2,000 more than the Seekins. And that price exists for one reason. Titanium fundamentally changes what a rifle can be. The receiver isn't aluminum wrapped in steel inserts. It isn't hybrid architecture. It's a monolithic titanium alloy body that delivers the strength-to-weight ratio of aerospace components. The 9-lug bolt configuration, Weatherby's legendary architecture, rotates just 54 degrees. That's not just the fastest bolt throw in this entire lineup. That's reload speed that becomes muscle memory. And the lug design itself means the receiver can handle Magnum cartridges that would strain aluminum alternatives. You want a chamber 300 Weatherby Magnum or 300 PRC? This platform was built for exactly that punishment. Compare this directly to the Savage at rank 2. The Savage gives you modular flexibility and the MDT chassis advantage, but the Weatherby beats it on weight, 5.1 to 5.9 pounds against Savage's 5.8 to 6. That half-pound difference over a 10-mile backcountry day is the difference between arriving ready to hunt and arriving wrecked. The Weatherby's titanium receiver also means zero flex, zero drift, zero compromise. The Savage's magnesium chassis is impressive, But titanium laughs at magnesium's featherweight claims. Against the Seekins at number 3, a rifle that costs $300 less and offers modular barrel swapping, the Weatherby's Peak 44 Blacktooth stock weighs just 20 ounces. 20. The entire stock platform is aerospace carbon, designed with a negative comb drop that channels recoil straight into your shoulder instead of yanking your face upward. The MagnaSwitch bipod integration means you mount or remove shooting supports in a single motion without dragging in extra weight. The Seekins invites you to upgrade endlessly. The Weatherby arrives complete, finished, perfect. The barrel is BSF carbon-wrapped, the same technology found on platforms costing twice as much. But here's what separates the Guide TI. The kite hoop air gap system in the carbon wrapping allows circulation around the barrel liner. That means superior heat management, consistent point of impact placement, and the ability to execute rapid-fire shots without thermal drift. The trigger tech is match grade, adjustable from 2.5 to 5 pounds. The accuracy commitment is absolute, sub-MOA guaranteed. This rifle will shoot tighter than most humans can hunt. The bolt knob, the safety lever, every accessory point has been obsessed over by engineers who understand that backcountry hunting demands redundancy and reliability. This isn't a rifle that needs breaking in or tinkering. It emerges from the box as a finished masterpiece. You are holding aerospace engineering, wrapped in hunting tradition. You are holding the apex. Train hard, stay safe, and I will see you downrange. Here's the truth about 2026. The choice between weight and accuracy, between price and performance, that lie is dead. American gunmakers killed it. What we just covered aren't 7 competing options. They're 7 answers to 7 different hunts. Budget Fortress at Ruger, Material Science at Christensen, Legal Revolution at Henry, Crossover Balance at Springfield, Aerospace Thinking at Seekins, Refinement at Savage, Absolute Apex at Weatherby. The best rifle isn't the most expensive one. It's the one that matches your terrain, your prey, your commitment to mastery. If you haven't locked in your research yet, the conversations where hunters stop pretending and start sharing what actually works, those are waiting for you right here. Keep your powder dry and your aim true.